Thank you everybody for coming today. So I hope that everybody is having a great day and is eager to know more about this new collaborative process. Sorry, that we have had with the ClearlyIP folks. So we hope that everybody's excited and we can go ahead and learn more about it. So today we're joined by Mr. Tony Lewis, CEO and co-founder of ClearlyIP. So Mr. Lewis, thank you very much for coming and actually being our first guest.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Also presenting today is me, Joseph Montes, channel manager for VitalPBX. So we might already know each other from email exchanges and other type of communication. So I'm glad that I am able to present to you this new process, this new collaborative endeavor. So just a little bit before giving the mic to Mr. Lewis. For those that might not know, and I don't know who here will not have heard of ClearlyIP, but to give you a brief introduction to them, where ClearlyIP has many years of experience with Asterisk. They're one of the first people, and it's one of the I don't like using this word, but one of the oldest people involved in the whole Asterisk process. And well, they basically are the guys who built free PBX. So that's the level of experience and confidence that they will give you with their services. So they are telecommunication experts. And with ClearlyIP, they are offering a variety of telecom services, which we will be hearing about today. So I hope that all of you are excited to listen more about what they have to offer. So speaking of the ClearlyIP services, I will now hand the baton to Mr. Tony Lewis. So I'm just going to stop my share for now and allow him to share his own presentation.
Again, thanks everyone for attending. My name is Tony Lewis with ClearlyIP. I'm really excited to be working with the VitalPBX team. I've known them for a while, a lot over the years. We've talked a lot back when a lot of us were involved in free PBX at the time before we spun off and started ClearlyIP, and it's been fun to work together on this. Today we're going to be talking about a SIP trunking platform for our North America customers, mainly US, Canada customers, and all the work we've done to tightly integrate that SIP trunking platform into VitalPBX. The VitalPBX, we are introducing a store that is designed just for VitalPBX customers to purchase their SIP trunking in collaboration with VitalPBX. Pricing from a standpoint, we'll get much more in depth on that, but we sell things like Call Pass where you don't pay per minute, as low as $17.99 a month, and US Canada did starting at 60 cents a month. Of course, there's other services if you want to just buy metered where you pay per minute, we offer that. There's a lot of other things that can be bolted on, but just to give you kind of an idea, very aggressive on our pricing, we think, in the industry with the type of feature set that we're providing. So how does this work? It's an on-demand cloud SIP trunking. So there's a beautiful store that lets you buy on demand, increase your channel counts, decrease it, buy DIDs real time. It's got full failover and redundancy. So within our own network, we're fully redundant across multiple data centers. And each of those data centers have unique paths into your PBX for your SIP trunking, and everything will fail over. Inbound calls will fail over between our different data centers. You can send outbound calls to any of our data centers at any time. And then our self-service portal that lets you, real-time add DIDs and Call Pass and users and see your billing and update credit cards, and basically lets you self-service all of your applications, all your E911 and everything. So the network itself, we like to, we refer to as an N+ redundant network. And what we mean by that is we've got 2 primary data centers in the US. And within that data center, there's redundant servers within each data center, what we call a pod. We do have a new pod coming up in Canada later this year in Montreal that will provide another redundancy, basically a third redundancy into North America. Each pod itself is built in with redundancy. There's 2 separate IP addresses coming on 2 unique paths into the data centers across those 2 separate IPs that you can hit at either time that hit the load balancers, and then the load balancers talk within the pod. Each pod talks to the other pods to know what's going on. So in the event, let's say an inbound call comes to our pod 1, which is our what we call our US Central pod, and you're not registered there, but you're registered on pod 2, which is our East pod, we'll automatically move that call over to pod 2 East and send it to your PBX. So the pods all know about each other and where you're registered and where you're not, and they move calls around based on that without you having to be connected to all the pods at all the times. But in the event that a pod loses connection to the other pods, maybe some backbone fiber goes down, it runs in standalone mode and it can operate all by itself without being able to talk to anything else and still be able to continue to process your inbound and outbound calls. So the VoIP service is mainly US and Canada. Currently, everything is in US dollars from a currency standpoint. You can visit the portal/store at vitalpbx.clearlyip.com. We will be launching a multi-currency store coming pretty soon. Initially, it'll be Canada and UK markets. And we'll look at other markets afterwards that will let you buy service in those local currencies. So what type of plans do we have? We're going to talk a little bit about voice calling plans, your inbound, outbound calling. So we sell basically really 2 ways. We refer to everything as a call path. So we sell call paths to you 2 different ways for domestic calling. And domestic calling for us is US and Canada together. One way is that you buy these subscription call paths, which are basically you buy how many of those you want. Let's say you want 5 simultaneous calls at any time. You would buy 5 subscription call paths from us, and you pay per call path, but then you don't pay per minute on the inbound, outbound calls. It's all bundled into your flat rate. And that pricing ranges, if you're month to month or on a 3-year contract, ranges from $17.99 US dollars to $24.99 US dollars, depending if you're on a 3-year, 1-year, or month to month contract. It does allow you to change demand. So if you want to go up, you can always add additional call paths and your contract doesn't get extended. So for example, if you're doing a 3-year contract, we'll let you go up as much as you want and it won't extend your contract. It still has the same expiration date. If you're month to month, you go up or down real time every month. Within the month, you can change how many of those call paths you want. So you're only, go back one. And then the other option we have is what we call metered only. So there's no fees for those call paths and you pay for every minute of calls that you make. And you pay for inbound, outbound calling. Most of US and Canada is 9/10 of a penny a minute. There are some areas that get much more expensive because of expensive rate centers, but 95% of US and Canada's billed at 9/10 of a penny a minute, both inbound, outbound as a flat rate. Numbers. So we'll talk a little bit about phone numbers. So we offer DIDs in most US cities in Canada. I forget how many, well over 10,000 rate centers we cover across US and Canada. We do offer some select international DIDs that you can pay. If you've got, when we say international DIDs, it wouldn't be your whole service is only in Mexico and you want to buy Mexico DIDs from us. We're not very competitive on international DIDs. It's more of a service to customers who need an occasional international DID. Will never be what a local carrier could sell it in that country to, but for our US, Canada customers who might need a UK DID or a Mexico DID, we do have the ability. You can't buy them in our store. They're an off-net purchase. You contact us and we'll fulfill it for you. But otherwise, your local DIDs and your toll-free numbers are all bought real-time right from our store. Full number porting. So if you want to port your numbers, either local numbers or toll free, we can do full number porting. Full international calling. So you have the ability to enable outbound international calling. It's a rate deck. Every place you call is a different rate. There's a published rate deck, but you can enable international calling. And then we have some thresholds that you can set on that. So you can limit how many international calls you want, maybe 3 at a time. And then you can set a weekly limit. I don't want to spend more than $10 a week on international. And you can set those both as safeguards on your international calling. And then E911, full coverage in US and Canada. We have very tight integration, something that Joseph will be showing you later with how we do these dispatchable locations to be compliant with Kerry's Law and Raybaum's Act. But we have great 911 coverage all across US and Canada, very economically priced because the way we've abstracted out 911 and all the new dispatchable location systems. And all of that is managed right from our portal. So local numbers in North America markets range from 60 cents on a 3-year contract to $1 if you're month to month. Most of our DIDs are SMS and MMS capable, and most of them are T38 fax capable. Toll-free numbers are $1.50 a month. US, they go down if you have a contract, and then you pay per minute, just over 2 cents a minute for inbound. And again, with a contract, that price goes down to on a 1-year and a 3-year. All of our numbers include CNAM lookup. So unlike most other carriers who charge you for the call ID name lookup when you receive an inbound call, we include that free of charge. We don't charge you, and we go and do a lookup of all the inbound calls and provide you the call ID name as long as it's registered in the different libdb databases. And then we also have the ability to let you set your own libdb, or what's called your CNAM. So if you buy new numbers from us, you can go and set, not in our portal today, that's coming next quarter, but you can open a ticket with us in our support team, and they can go set your CNAM name on any of your DIDs that you want. Within our trunking store, this isn't really a VitalPBX integration. This is a standalone fax service. So in our trunking store, we have a native built-in fax to email. So inbound, you can set up your inbound DIDs to send out faxes to email addresses. And we have a full email to fax service where you can send emails to an email address with the phone number. We'll convert it and send it out as a fax. And then we've exposed a complete RESTful API on our faxing. Our fax service is called sendfax.to. That's the domain. It's built 100% from the ground up by us. It's a very reliable, very simple to use faxing service. So how it works is, we try to monetize it. There's no per page fee. There's no per user fee. There's no per group fee. You buy fax call pass from us. We sell them in 2 different ways. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then you buy DIDs like you would for voice, and you set up some groups for inbound and outbound faxing based on email addresses or domains. And now you can receive your inbound faxes to email and use email to send outbound faxes. So inbound faxing is fax to email. You basically set up an inbound email group, add your email addresses in there, and then point your DID to that email group, and every fax that comes in will get picked up and converted to a PDF and sent to that group. And then you have the ability also on an inbound fax to have it encrypt the PDF. So you can set a password, and then it will encrypt the PDF when it sends it to you in an email. And you'll have to use that password to unencrypt the PDF. So it lets you get HIPAA compliant, because the one piece of HIPAA with faxing that's hard when you do email services, delivering that email, that PDF encrypted. So we allow you to set encryption on that, and as long as you know what your password is, you can unencrypt the PDF. Outbound's pretty easy. You literally just set up a group, an outbound group. You can add up to 100 email addresses or domains. So I could add @clearlyip.com to my group, and anyone at Clearly then could fax out. And once you have an outbound group set up, you then link that outbound group with 1 or more DIDs for billing and caller ID purposes of when you send a fax. And then you just send a fax to your phone number at sendfax.to or sendfax.to. Include your attachment, Word, PDF, doc file, and include a cover page if you want. You can include a document called coverpage.pdf or coverpage.doc or cover space page. We'll pick that up as your cover page, attach it as the first page, and then all your other attachments as the document, and send it out. So here's a really quick step. To send an outbound fax, you open up your email client, attach your PDF, PNG, IMG, or doc file, put in who you want to fax to at sendfax.to, and hit send. With all the different multifunction printers out there, you can set up, most of them will allow support of configuring email addresses directly to the multifunction machines. So you can set up your inbound to go straight to your multifunction printer if you wanted to print the faxes out. And most modern fax machines and multifunction machines allow you to send out emails. So you could put in the phone number at sendfax.to and hit send, and it will send that out as a fax. So our E911 service that is integrated into our store and part of our SIP trunking is compliant under the U.S. Carries Law Act, which is already in effect, and the RABOM Act, which part of it's in effect, and the other part of it goes into effect February of this year, and the last piece of it goes into effect February of next year. But we're fully compliant with both acts and laws at this point. So how does this work? We're not lawyers. These are our opinions. We're experts in VoIP, and this webinar falls in the parameters of our expertise. We're going to explain to you kind of how we do 911 and how we do it to be compliant with the law. So, Carries Law and RABOM's Act. This is really simplifying it, but one of the big requirements is you have to allow dialing 911 direct. You can't allow a prefix. So VitalPBX itself can allow dialing 911 direct without a prefix like a 9 first, so you're compliant with that part of the law. The next part is you need notification. So your PBX has to be able to send out notifications to let somebody know when 911's dialed. And I'll let Joseph talk about what they're doing with Vital for that. And then the last piece is you've got to be able to say where that person's located. And the crux of the law is you can't just say they're at an address anymore. I can't just say, I'm calling from 3255 Highview Drive, Appleton, Wisconsin. I've got to now get more pinpoint within that building. So if I'm in a multi-floor building, I have to say what floor I'm on. If I'm on a one-floor building, but I have a warehouse and I have an office space and I have a shop, I might have to say 3255 Highview Drive offices, or 3255 Highview Drive warehouse or shop. I have to provide what I'd like to think of as more metadata, or what we like to say, what door to kick down within that building. So that's the big crux of the law that most people are struggling with, is how do I provide within my building where I'm at? Because traditional 911 is you're just given an address, and yeah, you can usually add metadata to it, but in traditional 911 world, you're having to buy a DID for every single address. So you buy a phone number and then you bolt 911 onto that phone number as an extra charge. So we have tried to rethink this a little bit. We can skip this slide. I just covered it already. So organizations have to be complied with Carries Law for any new system going in effect as of last February. RABOM's Act, most of it is in effect as of this February. A few pieces of it don't go into effect until the following February. But every person who installs a new phone system has to be compliant with these acts now. You as the installer integrator are now liable. You never used to be under the law, but now under the law, you as the integrator, seller, and installer are liable if this is not set up correct, and if you don't provide the tools they need to set it up correct. So how does traditional 911 work? Traditional 911 is you have a phone number or a DID, right? And then you validate an address on that DID. So if I need multiple addresses, I have to buy DIDs, and I'm using DIDs to set up 911. So that's how traditional 911 works. So you're buying an E911 address or E911 location, And it ranges from most of your carriers, anywhere from $1 to $2 or more a month for 911, plus the cost of the DID, which can range from 50 cents to $1 plus a month. So you're starting to get into spending $2 to $3 per DID by the time you buy the DID and bolt on 911 for every 911 location that you need. So how we do this differently is we've broken 911 apart from the DID, and we've broken it into two pieces. The first piece is the callback profile. So 911 laws say you have to be able to call back in the event you get disconnected. And it's clear, you don't have to call back who called 911. You can call back, for example, a central front desk, as long as that front desk was notified that somebody called 911 and who called it, so that she knows how to redirect the call to whoever inside the office called 911. So that's a prime example. So what we do is we have a callback profile, and that callback profile tells us a caller ID and what number to call back. It's not tied to your DID. That caller ID can be anything, any 10-digit number, and the callback number can be any legitimate phone number that 911 can call back. It doesn't even have to be a DID you have with us. Then we have dispatchable locations. A dispatchable location is basically which door to kick down. It's the physical address along with metadata, like second floor, northeast corner of the building. None of this is tied to DIDs. So dispatchable locations are 50 cents. So to get set up initially, you buy a single callback profile for $1 and you buy a dispatchable location for 50 cents. The beauty in this is you don't have to buy additional DIDs after this. And for every unique metadata or what door to kick down, it's only 50 cents a month to add that to your system, where before you'd have to buy a DID plus a full 911 on it. So you get some significant savings in this when you're in a multi-location or a building with multi-dispatchable locations in it. So as we talked about, the callback profile is $1 a month. It includes the company name, a default location that we fall back to in the event that we have no other way of getting a location, and for taxation purposes, because 911 is taxed in every city differently. And then what caller ID is identifying that callback profile. So when you call us, we know what callback profile to use. And then what callback number. So what you save when you set up a record with us is you say, here's the name, here's the default location I want to link to, here's the caller ID that I'm going to send you to know it's this callback profile, and here's the callback number for this callback profile in the event that 911 needs a callback. Then we get into the dispatchable location. So dispatchable location is that what door do I kick down inside the building? So it might be your address, and then the metadata might be northeast corner, might be suite 5, or might be second floor west wing, or might be second floor conference room. A dispatchable location doesn't modify the callback number. A dispatchable location works with your callback profile. So I have a callback profile and I have dispatchable locations. And I might have multiple callback profiles with 100 dispatchable locations, or I might have one callback profile with 100 dispatchable locations. It doesn't matter. So when emergency services goes to call back in the event they need to, they're using the callback profile to know where to call back. And what happens here is within VitalPBX, there's a GUI they'll be showing you where you're actually saying this user is going to use this callback profile and this dispatchable location. And you're linking at an extension or group level which callback profile, which location each user is going to use. And then they send us that information from the PBX when 911 is called, so we know which callback profile, which dispatchable location to use on the call. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Joseph to walk you through the VitalPBX integration in the module, and he's going to take you through a live demo.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis.
Thank you.
We are now going to do the live demo of the ClearlyIP Trunking Module. So this new ClearlyIP Trunking Module, you can actually install. Whoops, let me exit for the presentation. I'm going to come to VitalPBX here. So to get started here inside of VitalPBX, we will have to go to admin, then add-ons, and then add-ons. And from here, you will be able to download the different commercial modules that we offer, and also the add-ons that we offer here. So we have here the ClearlyIP Trunking add-on module. So we can go ahead and download it. So this will take just a couple of seconds. All right, so now that I have it installed, I can go ahead and refresh. And now, when I come here to the PBX, and then I will now see that there's this new ClearlyIP Trunking menu item. So here, the first thing that I will do is come to General Settings, and what it's going to ask for me is for a key code. So to get that, to get the key code, I can come here. This is the trunking portal for ClearlyIP. And here I have created my different locations and my different phone numbers and everything that Mr. Lewis was talking about. So what I can do now is come to locations. And here inside of locations, I will see the different locations that I have created. And if I come here to the binoculars icon, I can go ahead and see everything that this location has to offer. So here is where you will see everything that Mr. Lewis was talking about, and where you can go ahead and customize and make different changes directly from the ClearlyIP platform. So here you can see, for example, the D4 emergency callback profile. And as Mr. Lewis said, that you can create as many as you need. So you will see in just 1 second how these are represented inside of VitalPBX. Now, down here we have SIP credentials, and this is what we're going to be using to be able to configure the ClearlyIP trunking module inside of VitalPBX. But before that, down here you can see everything else that Mr. Lewis was talking about. So you had the sublocation. So those are the ones that have that metadata that will include additional information that you can assign to the different users inside of VitalPBX. So you will have more in-depth information for each one of them, and how you can assign that to be sent through the E911 information. You will be able to see your numbers here. So you will have your different DIDs. If you have more, you will see them here on the list, as well as your different emergency callback profiles associated here, and the different dispatchable locations. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, so I can configure inside of the VitalPBX ClearlyIP trunking module, what I'm going to do is copy this key code. And the ClearlyIP guys have done it very easy for us. We only have to click on it, and it will copy it to the clipboard. I will come back to the VitalPBX. And right now, I'm going to paste that key code here. So now, once I have that key code over there, I can go ahead and click on Connect. And it's going to synchronize with everything that I had on my ClearlyIP portal. So here you will see the different privileges and options that you have selected for that account. In this case, I don't have SMS or international, but I do have the call path subscription, and I have the emergency options enabled. Down here directly, you will see that you can change that failover setting. So failover, once again, will allow you to have the incoming calls come to another DID. In the case that the first one is for some reason something goes wrong with it. And you can choose the different types like DID or URI, and you can configure those directly from the VitalPBX interface. And whatever changes you make here and you update, it will also update on the ClearlyIP trunking profile.
Hey, Joseph, on that, so what the failover for, I didn't talk about that, I should have. So in the event your PBX is down and the trunking servers can't reach it, we can fail your inbound calls over to either another phone number, maybe like your cell phone, or we can fail it over to another IP address, which could be another VitalPBX PBX. So this is just telling us in the event we can't reach your PBX, where do we want to send those inbound calls to? And you can set it in your module here, as you said, or you can set it in our portal. It doesn't matter. And if you set it here, it's just syncing it to our portal.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much for the input. So feel free to correct me in any way that that you can. So
No problem.
Once that we have here we have entered the key code, and you might have already noticed that we actually have here the apply changes button here, since we by entering the key code we have made a couple of configurations inside of the PBX system, so we can go ahead and click on reload there, so we can apply the changes. So now what we have done actually is, if we come here and look at the trunks, and we come here to the menu items, here you will see that we actually have a new trunk that has everything configured. So here we have everything already configured for us, using instead of us having to manually configure the trunk. Additionally, if we come to inbound routes, you will now see that you will have your DIDs already pre-configured here, and by default they will go to an inbound destination called verify DID, and all it's going to do is, whenever you call this number, what you will listen is the DID be played back to you. So this is just a startup for you to have that inbound DID already configured, and you can go ahead and change it to an extension, for example. So here I will change it to an
The
extension.
beauty here is, if you went and bought 100 DIDs from us, 100 phone numbers, all those inbound routes are created automatically for you. You don't have to come in here and create them in VitalPBX. They're all here. Just like you didn't have to go create the trunks to our 4 different servers, our 2 different pods. The module does it all for you. It takes a lot of the install and mistakes of configuring a trunk and programming all those DIDs out of the equation for you.
Yes, correct. And the only thing that you might notice right now is that the outbound routes are not created right away. This is just to prevent any type of clashing of other routes that you might have. But to create them is quite simple as well. If we come back to the general settings here, if you come here to the bottom side of the page, we will see this configure routes button. If we go ahead and click on it, it will tell us that the routes have been synced successfully. And now if I go ahead and apply the changes, I can come back to the outbound routes module, and you will now see that I have this clearly trunking outbound route created. And here we will have the most common patterns already pre-established for us to use. So you can see quite easy as well to create those outbound routes as well. And if you ever make any changes to your ClearlyIP portal, you can easily synchronize those changes by clicking on this synchronize button on the bottom left-hand corner. So if you purchase more DIDs or make any other type of changes directly through the portal, you can always synchronize by clicking this button down here. Okay, so now that I have that configured, we basically have everything that we need to make outbound and inbound calls. So if I go ahead and come to an extension here, and I call to a number, so I can call to VitalPBX.
Thank you for calling VitalPBX. If you know the extension of the person you wish to communicate with,
made our outbound call. And if I go ahead and actually call that number, so I'm just going to call from another phone that I have here off screen. Here you can see that we are actually receiving that call, and we can go ahead and answer. But now I'm going to hang up so I do not hear myself. But as you can see, we now already have everything configured for us to be up and running, placing calls, receiving calls. But as you already have seen throughout this whole presentation, that's not everything. So if you come here to the inbound DADs module, you will be able to see the inbound DADs that you have. So here you can see your different DADs and then the different capabilities of it. And here under actions, you can update the failover for that DID directly from here. So once again, it's either a DAD or a URI that you can fill over to.
Hey, Joseph, on the failover, just so people are aware, we have 2 levels of failover for inbound calls.
Mhm.
Earlier, you showed the failover. That's what we call the location level. And then we have failover at a DID level, where each DID could have a different failover. So in the event we can't reach your PBX on an inbound call, we first look to see if the DID has its own failover. If so, we use that failover. If the DID doesn't have a failover, then we look to the global level and use the global one if it's set.
Perfect. Perfect. And you can easily configure this directly from the VitalPBX GUI. And then here we also have the button to take you to the inbound route for that specific DID. And then on the bottom here, we have the emergency callback profiles. So here you can edit and you can configure your different callback profiles depending on how many you have established. And whatever edit that you make here will also update to the ClearlyIP portal itself. So whichever changes you want to make here, so the caller ID name, the caller ID number, the callback number, if you want to change it, you can see here the callback number. How we have it here is the VitalPBX number, just so you can see that it does not necessarily have to be the same DID. As Mr. Lewis said, you can have that callback number be towards somebody else, like a front desk, that might be able to see those, might be able to redirect the authorities to the appropriate destination. So here you can have that other callback number. And here you can also select the different dispatchable locations that you can assign towards this callback profile. So, and once again, whichever changes you make here will also be updated on the ClearlyIP portal. And right next to it, we will also see that we can see the dispatchable locations. So with VitalPBX 3.0 and onward, just to get you up to speed, if you have not heard the news with version 3 for VitalPBX, we now have this dispatchable locations option here. And with ClearlyIP trunking, we automatically create the different dispatchable locations based on the locations that you have created inside of the ClearlyIP portal. So here you will see that the caller ID is automatically assigned based on the ClearlyIP information. And here under address preview, you can see the address that has been assigned here for the dispatchable location itself. And once again, if you had more dispatchable locations or sublocations, they will also be added here. So once you have those dispatchable locations, what you can do is whenever you create an extension here, there is now this option here called dispatchable location. So you can assign this dispatchable location to the user. So if I open up the extension that I have here for the demo, I can assign this dispatchable location to this user. So whenever I place an emergency call, so I can go ahead and click on update there and apply the changes. So whenever I make an emergency call, this dispatchable location will be used on the E911 services that ClearlyIP offers, as well as here under emergency calls when we define the emergency numbers. So here you can see that we automatically create those emergency numbers inside for the ClearlyIP information. So we have already defined the trunk and we have defined the different emergency numbers. And what you can do here as well is you can also add email addresses. So whenever you place a call towards an emergency number here, these email addresses will be automatically notified as well, with the dispatchable location and from the extension number that you place the call or the device that you place the call from. And they will be able to know exactly where the call was placed. So these emergency contacts will know as well as the authorities as you place the call through the E911 service for the ClearlyIP trunking.
And that's important under the new Carey's law, which says, or Ray Bombs, which says you have to be able to notify people when somebody calls 911, because when they call back, they're going to call back that main number, the callback profile, and that front desk or whoever it is that's responsible for it needs to know who called 911. So you're solving that by sending emails out.
Yeah, correctly. So as you can see here in VitalPBX, and we have made it quite simple to follow. And with the ClearlyIP trunking, we automatically create one for you to use. So this will make VitalPBX whenever you're using the ClearlyIP trunking quite a safe bet for you to make your different 911 or emergency calls. So as you can see, we now have this deep integration with the ClearlyIP trunking services. We hope that we're hoping that in the future we're also going to add the SMS capabilities, and you already saw their send fax to service. We're looking into making some type of integration there as well in the future. So keep an eye on that, and we hope that you all enjoy this new way to add new services to your VitalPBX, and you're able to see that how easy and simple it is to do so. So you now know the service, you now know the module. So once again, if you want to try things out, you can always visit the vitalpbx.clearlyip.com URL, so you can ask for a free trial so you can try these services. So once again, thanks to Mr. Tony Luis and the ClearlyIP team for this collaborative project, and we hope that we can continue to collaborate in the future.
Yes, it's been a fun project, I think you guys learned a lot about trunking during this project. It's the first time you kind of did this type of tight integration, and I think we had a lot of fun together on it.
Yeah, and it's been quite a long process as well due to the pandemic, how it hit us right in the moment that we were starting. But now that we have VitalPBX 3 out and we have these the trunking module out, we hope that we can continue collaborating more in the future
Awesome.
for the different projects. All right, so once again, we invite you to visit the vitalpbx.clearlyip.com URL so you can start your free trial today. So with that said, we thank you all for watching. So if you have any questions, we have the Q&A option at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and open everything here because I see that there has been some activity on the chat. So let's see.
So clearly trunks are available for Puerto Rico. Yes, we do have some DID coverage in Puerto Rico. Louis, if you go to our store and add a location, doing the wizard of adding a location, it'll pick the country, United States, and then for the state, I know it's not technically a state, but pick Puerto Rico. And you'll see we do have some rate centers, and I'm looking, we do have DIDs available. If there's specific rate centers that we don't have DIDs in we might be able to get them. You can always ask by opening a sales ticket with us, or I'm sorry, a support ticket with us, and we can see if we can get them off net for you.
Perfect. So the next question we see here is, do you have reseller packages for VitalPBX partners?
Yeah, so they would have to reach out to our sales team. We have a whole reseller program that does provide different discounts.
So yeah, if you can send us an email, Mr. OWG, we would be able to reach back to you with more information about this and anyone else interested. Okay.
Is Clearly IP integration is installed as an add-on? Yeah, so it's an add-on that you have to enable. It's an add-on that's built and supported by VitalPBX. So they're the ones who built it. They own it. We worked with them on it. And you go into VitalPBX add-ons and install the add-on like Joseph showed earlier today.
Yeah, so you can install it at any moment directly from admin. Then go to add-ons and then add-ons.
How does the free trials work? So that's a sales related question. Sales can work with you. Basically what we do is we'll issue you a small credit or what's called a credit note on your account. We'll give you like a $5 credit note. And then on checkout, you can use that credit note to purchase a DID. And with meter trunks, there's no cost. So all it really is a DID that's $1. So we'll give you a couple of dollars of free credit, which will allow you to go check out and not have to buy it and give things a try.
Okay, perfect. So let's see. How do I turn off PC audio? I think that this is a Zoom related question. So, well, for that, there's a little mute button at the bottom left corner. Okay, so the other one here is ClearlyIP Anywhere, also available in VitalPBX. Not at this, not that we think of now. I believe that you have created that for free PBX.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. At this point, and it's something we could discuss if there's a demand and you guys are looking. I know you have your own soft phone stuff, so we wouldn't want to do anything that sits. And you guys are building some great stuff here. So
yeah. So if you want a soft phone with VitalPBX, I will suggest for you to take a look into Vitsy, which is our new endpoint client family of products. So we will be having more information about Vitsy this upcoming month, actually. So stay tuned into your emails and different social media accounts for VitalPBX for more information about the next webinar we hold about Vitsy and how it integrates with VitalPBX.
So we get asked, what if I have multiple systems? So Joseph, can you bring up the UI to the trunking portal?
Yes.
So Joseph kind of hit on it earlier, but I'll explain a little bit. So each PBX is what we call a location. So under products and services, there's a locations tab.
Yes.
And Joseph will bring that up.
Give me 1 second that I lost my mouse cursor here. There you go. So you have location.
So each PBX is basically what we call a location. And you can add. So if you hit the little add a new location, this is how simple it is to add a new location. We'll run through it quick. So go ahead and hit next. And it's going to ask you, what kind of call pass do you want? Do you want to buy the subscription type where you pay a flat fee, no permanent fee, or do you want to buy metered? So Joseph's going to pick metered here because the metered call pass don't have a per month fee, just a per minute of each call that you do. And he's going to say he wants 1 metered, so he can make 1 call at a time. If he wanted more, he could add more.
Yeah.
And then from here, he could pick what plan type he wants, month to month, 12-month or 36-month. So we'll do month to month on it, so there's no commitment. You can cancel anytime, and he's going to hit next. So you notice there's no fee for those metered call pass. And now it's asking for information about this PBX. So just put webinar. I like to use.
So this is my second location. Just give it a
sure,
name.
or or call it webinar, whatever. Yep, in the description if you want. And then you can say, yes, I want international calling. We're not going to on here because it's a test. Mm-hmm. And then address information.
So I can say.
So we have to have an address for billing and taxation purposes in US and Canada because everything has to be taxed based on your geolocation. So just put any address in there.
Yeah, I will go ahead and put the VitalPBX address over there. Just let me pull it up because I somehow cannot remember it by heart because that's how it is. So.
And these addresses don't have to be US, Canada. They can be international addresses. We have plenty of customers who need US trunks, but they're not based in the US. We still need an address.
There you go.
And then you'll hit next. And this is where you get to buy DIDs now. So you get to pick your country for local, or you can do toll free, but we'll leave it at United States. And then under state, go ahead and pick Florida. And then pick a rate center such as Miami, since that's where you're based. You can type, you don't have to scroll.
Yeah, I just wanted to show the
Oh,
full
okay.
list.
Yeah. And then it's going to come back and it's going to show you for each DID which ones support SMS and which ones support T38. And you'll see 90% of our DIDs have both support. So this is where you just start clicking on the DIDs you want. So pick 2. And kind of something that's neat is if you want to find a certain type of number, like let's say I want to find one that contains 2939, go to the little contains box and type 2939. That will find any number that contains, oh, there it is. They'll find any number that contains that within the number and let you add it. Or you can do a begins with or ends with. So it lets you do some filtering. So go ahead and hit next now. And then if you wanted to add emergency services, this is where we'll do it. We'll skip it for the demo. So hit the skip button. And then you just put in your payment info. And if you happen to have like a $5 credit note for a trial from us, it'll show up here and you pick that credit note. And hit next. Agree to the terms. And hit save. And this is going to actually go and create the whole thing, buy the DIDs, activate it all. And then you get that module token, go paste it in your PBX, and you're up and running, making and receiving calls. So this whole process, including configuring your whole PBX, can be done in 3-4 minutes from start to finish. I don't think you'll find that on anything else out there trying to set up trunks. And by the time you buy everything, go set up the trunks and routes and inbound routes and outbound routes. So you'll notice we got an error here. By the time we tried to buy, Joseph had bought 3 DIDs. One of them we couldn't get. Somebody bought it before Joseph finished checkout. So it only gave him 2 out of the 3. So it gave you a nice error and just said, hey, we couldn't get that last DID for you. Somebody bought it before you. So you can go ahead and close now. And now you got a new location. And if you go view that location, you'll see there's its own token. The other thing I wanted to show really quick, Joseph, is international calling.
Okay.
Little slider. So we don't have international enabled. So he's going to hit that and enable international. It takes a minute.
Yep. Takes a hot second, but it'll
Usually
get
not
there.
that long of a hot second. Hit the hit your edit icon. So from here, this allows you to adjust things. Like if you wanted to add those unlimited call pass, or what we call the subscription call pass, you could add them here. So after the fact, you could add them. Hit the change quantity. If I want to change how many meter call pass I have, remember I have 5. Here's where you can change how many you want. So you go up or down. So you can close that. And then, hit the edit again. The other thing we can do is adjust the metered service. So by default, you're allowed up to $100 of metered a month. If you want more than that, you have to contact us. So it lets you go from 0 to 100. So what this is doing, your browser's being weird, but what this is doing is it's letting you set a monthly limit of how much exposure you want on those metered calls. So you can set it to be 50 a month or up to 100. If you need more than 100, reach out to us by clicking on that form, and we'll go through and talk with you and understand your use case and allow you to increase your limit. So everything's kind of self-managed in here.
Yep. So, and here you can also go ahead and reconfigure anything, and if you want to change information, or if you here you see once again where you see your SIP credentials at sub-location. So this would be the complete settings from the portal, right?
The only other real important thing is scroll to the top for me.
Yep.
This balance. So what this is showing us is you have $100 of metered. You've used 0 of it. International, you've got a $10 limit a week. So metered is monthly, international is weekly. But what's neat here is you can hit the little bell button there, little bell icon. You can set notifications parameters. So you can say for metered, the frequency, Maybe it's once a day, so daily, and you can say, if I've exceeded more than I don't know, 75% of my $100 monthly limit, send me an email alert. And then you can provide one or more email addresses here, and it will notify you every day now if you've exceeded 75% of your monthly limit. So it's a great way of getting notified for potential fraud or heavy usage to let you know that you may run out. And you can do that for the metered, you can do it for the weekly international, and if you did faxing with us. So you can set different thresholds to get notified.
Now we can click save.
Perfect.
Perfect. So I hope that everybody is enjoying what they're looking at. So you can go ahead and try ClearlyIP's services with VitalPBX. So,
Okay, so let's see if there's any other questions here. We answered the multiple systems. I see you sell SMS service. Does that work in Vital? So I'll let Joseph handle that. Joseph?
Yes. So currently at the moment, VitalPBX itself does not have that SMS capabilities, but that is something that we have on our plan. So we're looking to implement this feature very, very soon. So once we have it ready, we will be notifying y'all with all of this new information. So so you will be able to use this service quite soon. But at the moment, it's not there. But we're working on getting that added.
Okay. We have a question here. Can I connect multiple PBXs to the same account? I think what you mean is multiple PBXs to the same location. And no, because it's registration based, we wouldn't know what PBX to send the call to. They'd be fighting registration. But, it's always a but, we have this idea what's called sublocations. So a location is where all your DIDs belong to, and a location is what we bill. It's the billing side of it. But we have this sublocation concept. And if you hit add new sublocations, Joseph,
Yes.
what this does is it lets you pick who its parent location is. Perfect, and hit next. And give it a name. Hit the add new location or new sublocation. Give it a name. Just call it sublocation 1.
There you go.
And then a description if you want. And now press add to list. And go ahead and hit save. You could add more now if you wanted, but we'll just do 1. And how this works is a sublocation uses all the call paths from its parent location. There's no billing for a sublocation. All the call paths come from the parent. All it does is it gives you its own little module token that you use in VitalPBX to set up its own unique trunks. And then in your phone numbers, you pick, in a phone number, you can route it to a sublocation, the call. So the DID, instead of going to the parent location, can go to the sublocation. But the beauty of sublocations is you're not having to buy call paths for that sublocation. So that's to solve your, how do you handle multiple locations? How do you connect multiple PBXs to the same location? That's what the sublocation routine is for. And the neat thing with sublocations is when I set up a phone number, I can tell it, try this sublocation first, then this sublocation, then this location, or maybe try this sublocation first. If it doesn't answer, then try this location, then this sublocation. Basically, you can provide up to 4 location or sublocations to route that number to in a linear or random order.
Perfect. So hopefully that answers your question. So let's see if there's anything else in there. I see that there was a question about applying this whole idea of the ClearlyIP trunking for multi-tenant environment. So what you can do inside of the multi-tenant environment is that you can have, and I can do this real quick here. So I will install the multi-tenant add-on here, just to show you, because what you can do is that you can share the trunk connections from the main system with the different tenants. So you would be able to use the ClearlyIP trunking module with the main system, and then when it comes to the different tenants, what you can do is come to admin, tenants. And here, whenever you create the tenant, you can call to calls routing. And inside of here, you can enable the outbound profile. So this would be the outbound routes that you want to share through a route selection inside of VitalPBX. So you can share that with them. And then you can assign the DIDs directly to the tenant themselves. So whenever you receive a call, it will go to the tenant instead of the location. Just make sure that in that case, you have the inbound route deleted from the main system and just assign it to the tenant instead. So
Perfect.
so that is how you can use the main system to be your sort of gateway for the ClearlyIP trunking for your different tenants.
Okay. We had a question of rates for international calls. Uh, They vary all the time. International destinations change on a monthly basis. They're published on our website. If you go to clearlyip.com/legal under the legal folder, you'll see all kinds of different rate decks for different things. One of the rate decks is an international rate deck. It's varying all the time.
Perfect. So are there any other additional questions here? Okay. So if there are no additional questions, I think that this would be it for this presentation. So
Awesome.
I would like to thank everybody that came here and watched us live. This webinar has been recorded, so we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel. So you will be able to watch and rewatch how many times as you need. And a very big thank you to Mr. Tony Lewis for being our guest today, and once again being our first guest on any webinar that we offer. So thank you very much for your time, sir.
I feel privileged, and I think we did a pretty good job, even with the technical hurdles of not being able to present. And thank you for having us. We really had fun building this together, and I think this is the first of many things to come between the two teams.
Yeah, sure. Quite certain there. We really hope that we can have more and more projects in the future. So to integrate the other services that we still are yet to integrate. So once again, thank you all for coming, and we will see you next time.